Good morning, UTLA family, students, educators, and parents who are joining us today, Friday, August 28th. Today, I'll be talking about our crisis distance learning, nurses, agreement, recapping our chapter chair political meeting, CAT teams, LAUSD Teachers of the Year, and the Kenosha and El Camino issues. Crisis distance learning, I want to take some time to answer some of the big questions out there regarding this and our side letter agreement. On Wednesday, we emailed a new frequently asked questions to members, and we'll post the link in the comments below. Let's walk through a couple of the big questions that we've been hearing. Members are telling us their administrator is seeking access as a co-host to your Zooms. If this happens, ask for this directive to be put in writing and ask for the justification for this access. You may give administrators your links, which is appropriate. For example, a student is knocked off of Zoom and causes school for a link. Admins are saying that they want to co-host abilities or have co-hosting abilities so that in case you're late to class or sick, they can let kids in. A better idea is to make a teacher friend a co-host, kind of like a virtual room partner. If you're late, they can let students in or ask them to hold off and be patient in the waiting room. Here's another question that's coming up a lot. If a substitute or contract pool teacher is assigned to help you with a combo split class, who does the planning and carries the roster? Frankly, this is a point of contention with the district. UTLA is arguing that the split should be assigned to a pool teacher or substitute teacher and no longer act as a split, meaning the pool teacher or substitute teacher would carry a roster and be responsible for planning and grading for one part of that split. The district has taken the position that the pool teacher or substitute teacher should only provide support, as to oppose to being assigned full responsibility for one of the grade levels in the split. People are asking if class size caps still apply, and the answer is yes. The class sizes in the contract are still in effect. The district has until norm day, which is the 5th Friday of the school year, to finalize fluctuations in class size. If you're at a school that has greatly varying class sizes for the student advisory period, ask for a rationalization in writing from your administrator to justify the differences. Work with your chapter chair and your colleagues to determine an alternate way to balance classes and make them more equitable, and then ask your chapter chair to propose this plan during his or her weekly chapter chair meetings with the principal. Breakout rooms are another big issue. Some teachers are being told they can't use them, and others are worried about liability. There is no language in our side letter mandating breakout rooms. The use of breakout rooms is up to the discretion of the educator. Educators wishing to use breakout rooms should establish expectations and routines with their paraprofessionals. Once comfortable, educators are encouraged to incrementally implement the use of breakout rooms as a part of their daily instruction. Educators should monitor breakout rooms led by a paraprofessional throughout the small group time. If you sign on to Zoom using multiple devices, you can enter into 2 breakout rooms at the same time. Schools are encouraged to use pool teachers, substitutes, and TAs during this time. Through the distance learning work group, We are pushing the district to provide more guidance on this issue, including liability issues. And finally, a note on grading. Grading policy will be taken on by the UTLA LAUSD Distance Learning Work Group. It is not known when it will be discussed. We know this is a critical issue for everyone, educators, students, and parents, and we'll share with you soon as we know anything. I want to stress how much power you have in your UTLA chapter as colleagues and classroom practitioners to improve crisis distance learning or address issues not covered in the side letter agreement. Use your chapter chair meetings to discuss what's working, what's not, and formulate a plan to address issues or pushback on unreasonable directives that are impacting teaching and learning. Our unity these days is virtual, but it is still powerful. We are in the second week of a new school year, and there continue to be challenges. Let's remember that we are in uncharted territory. As we talked about last week, LAUSD announced a broad new COVID-19 testing and contact tracing program for staff currently working at school sites, and eventually for all students and UTLA members when schools physically reopen. Going down the testing path does not mean an accelerated move toward a physical return to schools. The spread of COVID-19 in LA still far exceeds state guidelines governing the return of students to campus, and there are still many other protocols such as personal protective gear, disinfecting procedures, and proper ventilation that must be in place. But this testing program is an important step, and LAUSD sought the participation of school nurses to begin this program. Over the weekend, with the guidance of our school nurses committee, we negotiated an agreement with LAUSD that sets parameters and protocols to guarantee the safety of nurses who choose to participate in the district's testing program. The most important element, participation is strictly voluntary and can be terminated at any time with a 48-hour notice. The side letter was emailed to members last night, and we'll put a copy in the comments below. So a shout out to our amazing school nurses who are such a critical part of keeping our school communities safe and healthy. Your expertise and advocacy are needed now more than ever. All chapter chair meeting. Yesterday, we had our chapter chair meeting entitled Political Action in the Time of Crisis Learning. November is coming, and we have to win, simply put. But how do we do that? We can't go door to door this year, that's out. We are in a unique year, and we must rely entirely on phone banking and mail. Ballots drop the first week of October. Millions will be spent by our opponents. Our power is one-on-one conversations. Educators will win the school board election. We will. We worked hard to get Prop 15 on the ballot. Now we need to work hard to get it passed. The Yes on 15 pledge will be dropped in the chat below. Voters respond to educators. Phone banking will be crucial. Texting is great, but phone banking and real human contact will be the key. Our members' votes can win this election. Prop 15 is the funding fight of the last 50 years. Nothing compares. It actually structurally changes the way schools and social services are funded. It is a key piece of dismantling structural racism. Now, our opponents can outspend us, but they can't outvote us. We gotta show up. We are all exhausted, but we have to move from being tired to righteous action. We've gotta win, and I know we can do it. So let's go, folks. This union is strong. We changed the narrative of public education with our strike. We can do this. I'm asking you right now to commit. This is our election to win. Chapter action teams, or CAT teams. In my State of the Union speech at the Leadership Conference, I spoke about building power in the union being the same as building member power. That is why we must build capacity at each school site by having regular chapter meetings and activating your CAT teams to share the load. Our sites will only be strong if we flex our collective muscle. I want to give a shout out to some CAT teams I've heard about or seen doing this work on Facebook. Crescent Heights in West Area has an awesome team led by new chapter chair Maisha Bacon, Amy Owen, Jade Dunlap, Kathy Kennedy, and Mary Sammies. North Area's Sotomayor CAT team pushed back on unfair expectations from the principal. They also meet regularly to plan and to strategize around site issues. East Area, Malabar Elementary has organized a great CAT group made up of teachers, a PSW, and speech pathologists. They meet and go to area meetings together. They keep everyone informed by using phone trees and also using a band app, which keeps their school's UTLA members united in a private social media app where they share humor, ideas, and YouTube videos that members use to learn about Schoology and other distance learning tools. Last Friday, the CAT at Roosevelt High School in East Area organized a chapter chair happy hour where they used a Jamboard to share positives and challenges of the first week back. Several issues came to the forefront: long work hours, challenges for teachers who are parents, lack of necessary tech equipment, and administration's unreasonable timelines for tasks. Next, the CAT will meet to prioritize issues for site organizing and collective pushback. East Area, at Rowan Avenue Elementary, there's a CAT member for each grade level, and the out of classroom UTLA members also have a designated leader. They communicate frequently through text messages within grade levels and between CAT leaders. Special ed teachers have organized their own phone messaging tree to discuss issues related to special education. In the threads, those CAT leaders encourage each other. They clarify issues. They share resources for students and families, and share memes to keep a sense of humor. The CAT plans monthly UTLA chapter meetings. And Harbor Area's Carroldale Elementary, led by Xavier Santos, is using the Band app for their CAT team. And he says it lets our members have a voice in what happens at our school site and crisis distance learning. Let's use these ideas and more to build the power at our sites and strengthening the union from the ground up. Congratulations goes to the 22 Teachers of the Year. 5 of these awesome educators will compete for the Los Angeles County Office of Education Teacher of the Year. They have been recognized for their expertise, success, creativity, devotion to their students, and commitment to the teaching profession, and we salute them. Kristen Baldridge from Clover Elementary. Nicole Bloom from Grant Magnet High School. Rhiannon Chavez from 186th Street Elementary School. Elisa Elder Aga, 24th Street School. Ceci Gonzalez Equia, I'm sorry if I messed up your name, at Roybal Allard Elementary School. Brenda Fischler, Polytechnic High School. Maria Garcia, Hope Street Elementary. Beverly Glass, Hancock Park Elementary. Laurie Johnson Pittman, Canoga Park High School. Hazel Kite Witham, Venice High School. Catherine Long, Fairburn Elementary. Sawali Maliwan, Polytechnic High School. Kate Miller, Reed Middle School. Cheryl Murakoshi Gallo, Elysian Heights Elementary School. Rosalva Ochoa de Santos, itinerant dance teacher. Alejandro Perez, Granada Elementary School. Dr. John Purcell, 32nd Street Magnet. Felix Quinones, itinerant physical education teacher. Jillian Russum, Roosevelt High School. Diane Simmons, Academy for Enriched Sciences and Global Awareness Magnet. Denise Tarr, Southeast Middle School Dreams Magnet. And Jeremy Zwang Weissman, Virgil Middle School. We applaud all of these educators and look forward to more to come. I have to be honest, words are failing me this week. Another unarmed Black man has been shot by the police, and after watching Jacob Blake get critically injured right in front of his 3 children, something broke inside me. My thoughts always go right to my own son, and it gives me pause. And then 2 protesters were gunned down by a teenage vigilante. We are watching the right wing in this country become increasingly violent and extreme, fueled by alt-right commentators and others in DC. Recently, these extremists went after one of our own, an educator at El Camino Charter. We talked about this on Facebook Live last week, but I'd like to share a little more of the story about the threats and harassment she faced. The educator's offense: wearing an I Can't Breathe shirt in her first virtual class and sharing a syllabus that featured authors of color writing about living in a biased world. The teacher, along with other educators from that school, were participating in a national movement of educators called Black Lives Matter in Schools and the Year of Purpose, to go Black to school. Let me tell you what happened next. A parent posted a photo of the educator wearing her "I Can't Breathe" shirt and criticized her anti-racist curriculum. That post started circulating on Facebook and other social media sites, specifically many alt-right white supremacist groups, where it became a witch hunt to get the teacher fired and revoke her credential for pushing political viewpoints. Soon after, someone shared the teacher's address online, forcing her and her daughter to hide out. What happened to this teacher is a travesty. No one should have to endure these kinds of attacks. We affirm that Black Lives Matter, and we will not allow racism to get in the way of educating our students with dignity. Those who would try to silence us got our answer this week when hundreds of educators in Los Angeles and beyond proudly wore our Black Lives Matter shirts in the Day of Solidarity. The racists want to see fewer Black Lives Matter shirts, and instead, they saw more. They want to stop us from teaching equality and racial justice. And we are doubling down, because racial justice is educational justice. Simply saying Black Lives Matter is not enough. Educators and administrators must actively show it in their work in creating and promoting anti-racist curriculum. It is not enough to manage or measure racism. We must work to dismantle it. And UTLA, I know we can get into this work together. I'll close by saying I'm hoping you find rest and peace this weekend. Let's not be too hard on ourselves, because you all are enough. I know you're mentally and physically exhausted after all of the sitting, prepping, planning, Zooming, and Schoology crashes. And yet, here you are, making it through the second week. We applaud you. I want to say a special thank you to Ms. Thornton for making Giovanni feel connected to you. He says you're his best teacher ever. We stand with you. Stay UTLA strong. We know times get tough, but let's stay strong, because together we rise.